We're with John Kelly. John is a personal injury lawyer in Phoenix, Arizona. He's agreed to answer some questions related to wrongful death and wrongful death lawsuits. With that said, John, let's go ahead and get into the first question that was posted online. How does a wrongful death claim work?
Thanks, Ryan. A wrongful death claim allows certain family members who survived the accident or are just wanting to bring the claim on behalf of the deceased party. So it allows the lawsuit to still exist even though we have a deceased party. And that's the basis of a wrongful death claim.
Okay, who can bring a wrongful death claim?
Arizona allows certain family members to bring a wrongful death claim, and it's actually spelled out in the statutes. One of them is the surviving spouse, so the husband or wife. One would be the surviving children can bring a wrongful death claim. Also, representatives of the children or spouse, the parent can bring a wrongful death claim, and then the estate, a representative of the estate can bring a wrongful death claim. So those are the parties. Notably, a sibling, so a brother or a sister cannot or are not included in that group.
Okay. Next question. This is a little more specific. If there are criminal charges brought against the person who caused the death, does that mean that I do not have a wrongful death claim?
Absolutely not. A criminal case and a civil case are completely different. Criminal is usually the state bringing charges against the defendant, which would be the party that was negligent or caused the death. So it could be a homicide case or a manslaughter case, typically in a traffic accident. What happens in that case is usually the party who is convicted then has to, face prison time. That's their punishment. In a civil case, it's more of a monetary thing, and we're looking at what kind of recovery can be made financially for the surviving family members. Criminally, typically you don't get an order of large financial amounts from that. It's usually punishing the person that caused the death. In a civil case, you have insurance policies that can come into play where you can go after certain insurance policies and try to get a recovery that way.
Okay, and the final question we have is, what are some mistakes that can harm a successful wrongful case claim?
One of the major things that could harm a wrongful death claim and actually stop it in its tracks would be the statute of limitations. Statute of limitations in Arizona typically for a wrongful death claim is 2 years, but you'll want to call an attorney because certain circumstances can change that. So a wrongful death claim will be stopped and you will not be able to bring it after that 2 years time after the accident passes. So it's very important. Another thing that I look at that goes wrong with these cases is avenues of recovery. What I was talking about with the insurance policies, say we're talking about a trucking accident and we have a truck driver that causes the death of a family member. If a tire blew out in that accident, there could be a couple of different claims. We could be saying the truck driver was negligent. We could also be saying that the manufacturer of the tire was negligent, so it could be a defective product claim. So in that case, we'd have different avenues of recovery. If we found that it was 50% fault for the driver and 50% fault for the defective product, we're going to be looking at what insurance policies are available. For the trucking company, would they have an insurance policy in place that we could look at? For the tire manufacturer, would they have their own separate insurance policy? So it gets very complicated, and that's why the statute of limitations can come into play too, because these cases need to be investigated. They need to have someone look at them very closely and make sure that everything is kind of in place and proceeding forward in order to get that recovery.
Okay, excellent.
And then the final thing that we look at is the damages. And sometimes the damages can go wrong because the claim for what damages was not made properly. So certain damages can only be recovered by the estate, other ones can be recovered by the family members, but those would include things like lost wages, loss of companionship, medical expenses that were had, funeral expenses. So they're all kind of categorized, and we have to look at them all separately and proceed forward that way.
Okay, excellent. If you have any questions related to a wrongful death case, all you need to do is post them to the comments section below. John's agreed to get back to you with answers. With that said, thanks for your time, John.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks for the questions. And if anyone has any questions regarding a wrongful death case, free consultations that most attorneys give them. It's always a good idea to pick up the phone and call because of these complicated issues in there. And you want to make sure that you're getting it taken care of correctly.
Thanks, John.